Right, in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 money-making opportunities in Zimbabwe. So before we get started, the 5th one is very interesting. In fact, that's one of my favorite. So make sure you watch this until the end. So these money-making opportunities in Zimbabwe are those which are ideal for someone who just wants to do this in retirement, or you're fed up of working the 9 to 5 and you just want to come home in a relaxed environment and start making money. So the first one is InDrive. Now, this was a very interesting one. I never thought that this could be something that I would be talking about. But a few weeks ago, I was in town and I was desperate for a taxi. So normally the normal taxis that we're used to, they charge a lot of money. They can just tell you whatever it is they decide, and sometimes it may be a bargain. But in most cases, pretty much they are charging you more than expected. So a friend of mine told me that I should install an app called InDrive, and this InDrive app actually works like Uber. So at first I was very skeptical. So I downloaded the app and activated it. The steps were very, very easy. So just like Uber, I stated my destination, where I was going, and within a few minutes, you can actually see it on the map, exactly like Uber. I know I keep saying this, but yeah, it's pretty much similar to Uber. So you can actually see all the taxis on the app, and you can actually negotiate the price on the app itself. So let's say it's say $7. You can just go on. There's a plus or minus. You can actually go down to, let's say, $4 or whatever it is. And if the driver accepts, pretty much you're good to go. The car comes, picks you up, and you go to your destination. So the reason why I'm naming this as a business opportunity is because while I was speaking to the driver, he told me that he actually does this for a living and he actually makes quite a bit of money. So I asked how much InDrive actually charges for each trip, or maybe overall for using the app. And pretty much they take 10%. Can you believe this? 10%. So let's say he works for, let's say, $100. Pretty much $10 is what goes to the company, and then you keep the 90. But of course, in the 90, you have to take care of your own fuel, the maintenance of your car, and so on. But if you have a decent car that is not very high on fuel, and it's a solid car like a Honda Fit. I've noticed that a Honda Fit here is a very solid car. If you have one of those cars, you're not really going to run into a lot of problems. So, as a business, that to me is something that one can really think about, because you can drive at your own time. Registering is also very, very easy. Within a couple of days, you could be signed up for InDrive and you can start taking customers. Now, what I really liked about it was the fact that you can work at whatever time you want. You don't have to stick to a specific working schedule, but it's up to you when you want to work. You don't get penalized if you want to work once a week or twice a week. It's pretty much up to you. So, in terms of money to be made using InDrive, when I asked the guy, obviously we have to take this with a pinch of salt. He was telling me he can make up to 200 or 300 US dollars per week. Now, to me, for that type of business, I think it's okay, because if you look at the cost of living in Zimbabwe, it's not too bad. So 1,000 a month or 1,200 is not too bad. But of course, you have to factor in things like, okay, are you renting or do you have a place of your own, and so on. But generally, as a way of making money, I think this is one thing that you may want to look into, especially if you can ship over a decent car or even buy a decent car, and then you can just work at your own time. All right, so let's move on to the next business idea. Now, I probably think that you'll be thinking, well, this guy is crazy. The previous video, I was talking about the chickens being very difficult to get into. Well, I am going to be suggesting for you to look into the chicken business. Whether it's broilers or even layers for eggs, the demand is there. Now, the idea behind me suggesting these business ideas is something that is very easy to start and something that you can manage by yourself. Because the last thing you want to do is to employ so many people before you even get started properly. So these are the type of businesses which, if you can start slowly, slowly, they will progress with time and you can really make a decent amount of money. So now, regarding the chicken business. So with the chicken business, the idea is people are going to need to buy chickens pretty much every day or every other day. So it is a business which is always on demand. So what I would suggest, in fact, this is what I did. When I started doing my chickens, I was pretty much selling them in my own neighborhood. and I became known for selling these chickens in my neighborhood to a point where I could not even meet the demand. So this is why I've pretty much dialed back, because I really want to make sure I have all my resources in place, and I have my storage, and the farm area is also done properly. Those temporary structures I have, I want to get rid of them and really make proper structures so I can do this business. Now, I've tried this and I've realized that it is really, really good. In fact, the last batch of chickens that I had, someone just came last week and said he wanted 50 chickens because they had a wedding. And pretty much he paid me on the spot. I mean, all the money. So this is something that if you take it serious, it can take you far. Now, here are my suggestions on how to get started with this. What you want to do is to start with very small numbers, and then you want to advertise word of mouth locally, speak to people, tell them that you have chickens available. So that way, when they taste your chickens, and also suggest that you shouldn't take shortcuts in rearing these chickens, because there are many ways that people use to get their chickens to grow fast, like using steroids, using a lot of antibiotics, and also giving the chickens pig feed. Those are a no-no if you want to have a reputable business where you're supplying chickens. So I would say feed your chickens natural food. Try and keep away from antibiotics. In fact, I will do another video on how I'm able to rear my chickens without antibiotics. That'll be a topic for another day. So once you start selling these chickens, slowly, you're going to start gaining a popularity. So the key here is all the profits you're going to make need to go back into the business. This is very, very important. Don't spend all the profits, because pretty much you get 100% profit in this business. So you want to make sure that when you sell these chickens, the money goes back into the business to expand. Who knows? You could be one of the biggest suppliers of the chickens, because once the word goes around and people love your product, you'll be surprised. You'll be approached by so many people that do canteens and so on. And I'm talking from experience. When a few people knew that I did chickens, I couldn't even meet the supply. I mean, the demand. It was just way too high, because people here love a very good product, and they also love someone who's honest in how they do their business. So this is something that you can definitely go into. The other business I would also recommend again is chickens, but this time these are layers. So eggs are on high demand here. I mean, pretty much eggs can be used by people who bake. It's used for breakfast. Now, you'll notice that all these suggestions that I'm giving you are things that people buy on a daily basis. Okay, don't go into businesses which require crazy marketing where, like for example, web design. Now, I do a lot of marketing consultancy and web design, but I would not even dare think about going into that kind of business, because it's not really something that I can sell every day. Even if I were to market my services a lot, it's not something that I can sell every day. Okay. So you want to go into a business that has high demand, where people are buying that particular product pretty much every day. And this is why I'm suggesting what I'm suggesting right now. Okay. So, yes, that's the chicken business. Again, you want to make sure that it's word of mouth, talk to a lot of people. And I would also suggest that once you grow big, you want to be canteens, you want to be approaching these small businesses that are selling products. Okay, so let's move on to, is it number 3 now? I can't even remember. Okay, so the next one is a canteen. If you do a catering service or a canteen, I've noticed that you can make a lot of money. Now, again, I'm speaking from experience here. When I was selling my broiler chickens, I used to get these women that sell street food, sadza. So they would buy one chicken from me for $6. But from that chicken, they make $12. So pretty much they're making 100% profit. So how they do it is they cut the chicken into 12 pieces. So they sell a portion for $1. So you can imagine they are making quite a lot of money. And these are street kitchens. So they just sell sadza, $1, and pretty much, they're good to go. They make quite a bit of money. Of course, I'm not recommending that you go and do it that way, because what I've noticed is these women sell, the council comes, they take their food, because it's not really legal. You're supposed to be licensed for you to do that. So if you want to do something along those lines, then you want to make sure you are licensed. But what I'm suggesting here is a bit different. Imagine if you can cook, and you can cook well, and you're doing this at home. You can find maybe a place, maybe even an office, which you can supply lunch. Okay. This, I've seen quite a few people do it. And, from what I've heard, it's actually very, very busy. very, very busy. There's a woman in my area here who used to buy 3 chickens every single day, and she supplies an office place with chickens. So that to me is something that, if you love cooking and you're very good at it, you could actually go into it and make it a business. So all these ideas that I'm giving you, look at these ideas with the mentality of making it big. Okay, you can start off in your normal kitchen, but you also have to look at expanding the business, because at the end of the day, you want to be focusing on doing it for weddings and so on. So these are the humble beginnings, and then just make your way there. What a lot of people tend to think is to just come in and go big, right? And that can have a lot of issues that come along with it, because let's say you want to come here and start a catering business. You're going to need quite a lot to get started, because you're going to need to buy all the kitchen stuff, you're going to need to rent a place, you're going to need all your ovens, and pretty much everything that you need to set up a catering business. Now, as you can see, this is going to cost you a lot of money. So you may perhaps maybe put that money together, but the moment now you start to say decide to operate, you haven't done your marketing. So you also need to employ quite a few people. So you're going to have a lot of overheads before you even start selling. So this is why I'm suggesting you start slowly. And in starting slowly, you're going to notice that you'll be learning quite a few things as you go along. So it is very, very important that you start slow, because I know some of you are probably thinking, well, this is ridiculous. How can I leave the UK to come and start something so basic like that? But you'll be surprised, because what makes this work is how you conduct your business. If you come in with professionalism and honesty, this definitely is going to work really well for you. Branding is also very, very good. I mean, if you're in the diaspora, we can see how restaurants are run there. We see how small businesses are run. Everything is pretty much professional. Now, there's a big gap here in Zimbabwe and Africa in general, because there's very little competition. A lot of people here have not been exposed to how business is done in the first world. So this is where you have a winning edge. And if you brand and make your things look professional, I'm telling you, you'll go really far. On that regard, even my businesses, I started off just testing the market to see how it goes. But once I go in full force and I start selling my chickens, everything's going to be branded. I may even go as far as even having billboards, promoting my chickens. So these are sort of like my vision moving forward, because I know it can be done, especially if you do your things professionally and properly. Okay, so let's move on to is it number 4 now? All right, so the fourth one is perhaps you're not interested in anything to do with chickens or farming or any of that. Do you realize that if you live in the diaspora, you have a lot of opportunities. You can be the bridge between products that are needed here in Zimbabwe, which you can get from the diaspora to Zimbabwe, and then you can just add your markup. I've noticed that a lot. My son, he's here, he's here on holiday, and he decided to come with a bunch of sweets. Okay, I know it sounds stupid or it sounds silly, but he came with a bunch of sweets, and he's been selling them. I mean, to date he's made, I think, close to about $20. So you can just imagine, just these are just sweets. Now imagining opening this idea into clothes, shoes, electrical gadgets, and so on. This could be a big thing. All you need now is, again, good marketing. If it's phones, if it's batteries, if it's whatever it is, that you don't really find easily here, then if you become the bridge between the UK and here, you are in good business, because already you have an edge when it comes to getting things from the diaspora to sell here. Because as I mention all the time, there's a lot of money here on the ground in Zimbabwe. A lot of people may say, well, the economy is bad and all that. Majority of these people that talk about economies and all of this, half the time they don't even know what they're talking about, because they just take a headline and run with it. There's a lot of money on the ground. If I were to just give you an idea of how much money people spend here, you'll be shocked. You know, I remember I had a TCU. It's a module for my car. I had bought two, thinking that maybe one of them might not work. So I'll just tell you this quick story. So there's a mechanic that fixes my car. So he came and he asked me if what parts I had brought from the UK, because these came with my kids when they came over here on holiday. So I just told him that I have this I think it's called a TCM module. It's like a computer box for the Land Rover Discovery. So he just basically asked me, well, how much do you want for it? I bought it for 60 US dollars. Sorry, for 60 pounds in the UK on eBay. So over here, he said, okay, so how much do you want for it? So I said straight away, okay, I want 120, right? Can you believe that that same thing, he found a customer and he charged the customer 220 and he just made himself $100 extra. Now, look at the margins there. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So when I found this out, of course, I gave him, whatever money because he found the customer for me. But I was just thinking, well, I could turn this into a proper business because I could make a list of all the parts that go wrong on discoveries and then buy those parts, the sensors, the height sensors, the computer modules, stuff like that. I could make a list of them, buy them, and then just put them on my own website or on Facebook Marketplace. That could actually work because a lot of these parts, especially on these discoveries, I mean, they're always needed. And most of the times people are getting these parts from, anyone who's breaking their car. But if you come in now with these new parts, and these are definitely very cheap in the UK, you will make a lot of money. So these are the type of ideas I'm talking about. If you can find something where you bridge the gap between Zimbabwe and the diaspora, pretty much you're in. Okay, now let me talk about my favorite one. So my favorite one here is being a content creator. I know you may say, well, can you really make money from content creation? The answer to that is absolutely yes. In fact, to date with my YouTube channel, I've made over $1 million in total. Okay. I've been running my YouTube channel for, like seriously, for more than 6 years now, 7 years. And throughout that time, it has made me a lot of money. Now, I know you're probably thinking, a million? How the hell are you making $1 million? Well, if you run your YouTube channel as a business, you become an influencer and pretty much you've advertised yourself. I get companies who come to me asking for collaborations. They ask me for me to review their product. I also have partnerships where I promote a company's software and I can negotiate, let's say, a 50% commission on every sale. So there's a lot of money that you can be made this way. It's absolutely ridiculous, especially if you look for a niche where it has high demand. You can also sell digital products, you can sell courses. So this stems from just being a content creator. So I know you're probably thinking, well, you have probably done this over the years. How can I also go into this? Well, I've got good news for you because this channel that you're watching me on, I've really started becoming serious with it over a few months now, probably 2 months. And can you believe that the YouTube partner program, because when you create a lot of content and you start making money with YouTube, they will contact you and ask for a partnership. So right now, as we speak, I think I'm making close to $200 a month just on this channel. And that's because I made quite a few videos that a lot of you, loved. And I would like to thank you for that as well, because obviously without you guys, I wouldn't be making money with my YouTube channel. So if you want to really go into content creation, you can actually start very, very low. Now, if you look at this microphone that I'm using, right, I think it's about 200 pounds or less. And everything that you can see right now is being filmed from my iPhone. So the barrier to entry for content creation is very, very low because you can pretty much get started with your phone, the phone that you have right now. You don't even need gear to get up and running with. The only thing that you need to be aware of is do not make these videos in the dark or where there's low light. They won't look very good. But if you film all your videos during the day, pretty much you're good to go. Now, I know just talking about you setting up a YouTube channel, there are a few tips that you need to be aware of for your channel to be successful. If you are interested in becoming a content creator, you can let me know in the comments box below. Perhaps I could do a specific video on how you can become a content creator. But anyway, still on that topic, there's a lot of people that want to see what is happening in the world. I mean, if you look at how YouTube has really gained ground, we have billions of viewers every day, right? People are uploading so much content. So if you look at Zimbabwe itself, anyone right now who's creating videos about Zimbabwe is making quite a bit of money. I can tell you that right now, because we have 4 million people in the diaspora and they want to see what is happening in Zimbabwe. Sometimes some people have not been back home for 10, 15, 20 years, and they just, looking at the areas they used to live in or the developments that are happening is something that, everyone wants to see while they're relaxing. So it is a very, very big opportunity to start creating content. And there are several ways you can create your content. You can just go into tourism and travel pretty much to every tourist resort. In fact, I want to share with you my idea that I had. My idea here was to travel to every single tourist destination in Zimbabwe and document it. And then I know that later on I could partner with hotels and lodges, and that could be also another way of making money. Now, imagine creating content like this. You're doing it in your own time. It's fun to do. You're also traveling. You're also seeing places. So it's content that doesn't stress you. And it's not really like a 9 to 5, because a solid 9 to 5 is crazy. I mean, those hours just, they're a nightmare. And as you do this content creation, you'll find that there are other opportunities that may come out of this, because you're putting yourself out there. A lot of people would want to perhaps partner with you. They want to do business with you. I mean, so many opportunities will come out of this. So this is why this way of making money for me is fantastic. So the other thing as well is perhaps even just talking about how you're setting up your homestead, and just document the whole thing. People love watching these videos. You'll be surprised. You can be someone who's very good at cooking and you just want to make a channel about cooking. I mean, this alone can also make you a lot of money. And this is also another way of advertising your services, because if you're cooking and then you attach that with your catering business, already you are in business. Again, let's say in my case, I become very good and successful at my farming business. Perhaps maybe it's the broilers. I could actually do a workshop where I can charge people X amount of money to teach them my experience and how to do things. So these are the different ways that you can actually make money. And like I said, the sky is the limit. This YouTube thing, when I started off, it didn't seem like something that was going to take me very far. But yeah, I've made quite a lot of money with it. And I still get quite a lot of opportunities opening up, pretty much every day. I've got companies that want to work with me. I've got companies that want to partner with me. It's incredible. And the companies I'm talking about, these are companies, $1 million companies. In fact, I had even the opportunity of working with a company called Elegant Themes. And yeah, it's a massive company. I used to travel and the money was good. The money was really, really good. So I would suggest that if you're someone who is serious about wanting to retire and make your money at your own terms and be your own boss, these are the sort of things you may want to look into. But before you even think about going into this, I would highly recommend that you save money, which can last you about 6 months or even a year, to be on the safe side, before you go into any of these business ideas. The reason is you don't want to start this business or any of these businesses and start stressing about money as well, because that is going to have an impact on your performance on what you're trying to do, because this is how people easily give up. So make sure you save quite a bit of money, even if it means thousands, just to make sure that it's covering all your monthly needs for up to a year. I mean, 6 months to a year, while your business is what? It's growing. That's what you need to do. So just bear that in mind. This is not something that you want to just come in and rush into. Now, I know some of you will probably say, well, I can't be seen doing that. This is where I say, if you want to be a true entrepreneur, you cannot be living life for others. You have to be content and you have to be focused, because if you start living life for others, it is going to be very difficult for you to be successful as an entrepreneur. I remember the first days when I came here, when I had my road runners, I used to get all the chickens, make sure they're all prepared, deliver them, and all of that. And some people were actually saying, this guy, he left the diaspora to come here and do chickens. But trust me, I was enjoying it because I knew I was doing this for my own thing. I wasn't doing it for anyone else. And the connections I got through that and the people I met through that was just amazing. So this is why I'm saying don't worry too much about what people say. If you decide to do something, just focus on that and do it. A lot of people will discourage you because they don't have the drive and the energy to want to do that. So they will just talk you down and say, oh, this doesn't work. Oh, look at him. How can he do this? And some may even want to try and project how better they are than you in throughout this whole process. But at the end of the day, you need to do what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, not what makes everyone feels happy, because you can't please everyone. Even in my case, I have a lot of people who say a lot of crazy things, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with where I am. I'm not here to show the world how brilliant I am. No, I'm just here to do what makes me happy, what doesn't stress me. So I'm pretty much happy with what I need to do, and I don't care what everybody says, unless someone is coming with genuine advice or they're giving me genuine suggestions. Apart from that, I don't really care what people say. There's a lot of nasty things that people say, but I know it's coming out of a place of jealousy and envy, because, sometimes it's just not a nice thing to say for someone who's trying to live their own life. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. If you have any more suggestions, please add them in the comments box below. And if you have further questions about what I'm talking about, again, comments box below, let me know, and let's have a discussion. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one.